So I thought I should talk about something interesting, very, very interesting, because people like to give false information. And now, ever heard of a phrase, throw your dirt somebody else, like your made up dirt? But after I'm seeing Iranian people give Arabs credit, like, oh, Arabs have changed, I want to laugh really, really, really hard, because they don't realize that after the Ottoman Empire War, we need to start from there. After the Ottoman Empire War, it was the Muslim countries who welcomed the Jews. There were Turkish Jews, there were Iranian Jews, there were the Moroccan Jews, there were the Yemenite Jews, and some Jews later moved to Pakistan when Pakistan was made. Many type of Jews, the Syrian Jews, the Iraqi Jews, all these people. And you want to know something really hilarious? The Arab countries never ever had non-Muslims. That's a big no-no. Arab countries barely had non-Muslims. Maybe throughout the years they welcomed some Christians, and God knows when they're going to welcome Jews. So when they say things like, oh, the Muslim country is retarded, Pakistan is a terrorist country. So who sold us this retarded narrative? When people don't like to study, people don't like to look in, it's very important to look in. When people don't like to look in, they feel completely lost or isolated. And I know Israelis feel like, I spoke to an Israeli today personally, and this Israeli wanted to know my opinion. He specifically messaged me in my inbox and say, I'm like, sure, why not? We can talk. So we spoke, and he wanted to know from me that what happened to the Jews after the Ottoman Empire War. Hello, Arab National Movement, by supporting Hitler, and which is known as the Holocaust. So during that time, the North African Muslims, the Moroccan king, Albania has fought, Bosnia has fought, North African Muslims have fought the French for this Hitler movement to keep and protect Jews. So the Arabs, even today, the Arabs, the Turks, and the Iranian regime, they still want to control Syria today. I don't think Syria can ever freaking be free to make its own choice until these nations are in power to see who get to rule in that country. It's not a religion, guys. It's a political movement. Now, when you hear stupid things and say like, oh, Pakistan, when they say Pakistan's a stupid country, hello? Who the hell fucking sold the narrative to our country that these countries are failed freaking cause? Whenever you try asking an Iranian that, or in Saudi Arabia that, they're gonna freaking shut up, because that is the goddamn truth. In 1947, when Pakistan was established, it had its own culture. 1948, Israel was a year after Pakistan's birth. So when Pakistan took birth, it has its own culture, it has its own thing, it had its own freaking non-Muslims living in the country. Now, these Arab countries, they never had non-Muslims. You're not going to find a Christian there, barely, I don't know now. You're not going to, Jew, a big no-no in Arab countries, big no-no. Arab countries never had anything like that. Hey, what's up, Zanali? I thought it was an interesting stream today because X seems to be really passing false information and don't know shit about the Muslim countries. Well, the Muslim countries took Jews after the Ottoman Empire War and fought to keep Jews in their country versus the Arab National Movement. That was part of the fucking Holocaust. Arab nationalism was part of the freaking Holocaust during Hitler time, to execute Jews, to get rid of Jews wherever they could possibly find to support the Palestinian official movement. So the African Muslims fought, North Africans, Albanians, Moroccans, the Iranian king, to keep freaking Jews safe from this national Arab movement. So when today you see people singing like Arabs or the Iranian people like stupid Pakistani, Bangladeshi, hello, false. No, you sold this to our country. If we are suffering radicalization, it's because of you guys. You sold it to our mosque. You sold it to our people to educate in our freaking country. So whenever Muslims see Iranians or Arab laugh, shout loud and proud. We had not our country. They sold their ideology to our country. If we are worshipping radicalization in our country and extremists, it's because of these two countries, Iran and Saudi. Even today, Syria cannot be free. Palestinians can't be free because they supported these political ideology with Hamas militants. Iran supported its own. Yemen is completely radicalized thanks to Iran selling it out, its own political ideology, that the Yemenite Jews can barely come back until Yemen is free itself. How are the Yemenite Jews going to come back when Yemenites are not free themselves because of the stupid movement? Once upon a time, there were Yemenite Jews, there were Moroccan Jews, Turkish Jews, Iranian Jews, Pakistani Jews, barely 2-3 today. But the Arab national movement sold radical Islam to our... Is she speaking Spanish? No, I don't speak Spanish. How are you doing? I don't know Spanish, or I would speak. How are you doing? You're probably a new member. So I'm explaining the new drama and X lately, that how the Iranian people and how the Saudi Arabian people assaulting Muslim countries without having to accept the fact who freaking sold it to our mosques. Muslim countries had mosques. They had their own culture. They had their own style. They had their own lifestyle, man. Now you look at a Muslim country today in freaking 2025, it's a freaking black dress that you see Arabs or Iranian people wear. That's their culture. What is their culture doing in our house? What is their hatred doing in our house? And we are carrying the terrorism mess? That we're the terrorists? Hell nah. If any Muslim is listening to me and understand, we had many non-Muslims in our countries. If our country is freaking fighting today, and people want to be hypnotized, say it's religion, it's not religion. We had our religion. We had our own faith. We had Hindus in the country. We had Christians in the country. We had our own freaking country spirit. Now we are looking at freaking retarded nationalism madness. Nationalism madness. With their own ideologies, selling it to our country just to be freaking a part of their war. And I'm saying it loud and proud. Until Syria's freaking free from the Turks, from the Iranians, from the Saudis, they can never have the Syrian Jews back. They can never come back until they're freaking free from this stupid freaking movement. They've been doing it for freaking years. Adios, Christos. How you doing? Nice to meet you on my channel. How you doing? So I'm speaking fast. Russia was part of this movement many, many years ago too. Remember? Jews and Christians, the Orthodox Christians who fought, same nationalist freaking stupid movement. Even in 2020 freaking 5, who gets to control Syria? Syrian people don't have a call of their own. It's all who Turk get to control it, the Turks, either Saudis or freaking Iran. And it's been under Iran for freaking years. Remember Hezbollah? Israelis, remember Hezbollah? It's under Iran's control. Until these national movements are here, nobody's free. Nobody can be free because people pay to get around. People freaking pay to get around. And hello, even in 2025. Now, when you talk to these people and ask them what happened to the Jews, I spoke to an Iraqi Muslim. We did not get along. Me and an Iraqi Muslim, we did not get along. We got into a debate, a serious debate. He tells me that he's the great Iraqi days. But how are you the great Iraqi days if your country established after the Ottoman Empire war? Then we debated about Jews. What happened to the Iraqi Jews who lived in your home? The best answer he could possibly tell me as a freaking Iraqi is that, oh, they did something. Okay, so I'm like, who bombed their villages? If they're the ones who are doing the bombing, why would they leave Iraq? Huh? See these retarded, unethical ideologies? People are, okay, everybody must remember one thing. Rather I'm holding the Bible, rather I'm holding the Quran, rather I'm holding the Torah. It's a book. Books cannot talk. Books can never ever talk to you. It's a word in a book. It's how you use the book. Always remember this thing. It's how you and your mouth uses a book. If that is not freaking true, then the Russians would never got into a war. Russians had their own war between Jews. Hindus and Christians got into a war. Everybody had freaking wars. So when people like bring into religion and say, oh, it's religion. No, it is not religion. It's a political movement, and in Muslim haram. Wake up. Stop saying yes to it. It is haram. Ideology movement. When did books say that we have to kill a specific group without the fear of God? But people done it anyway. Russians have with Jews, Hindus and Christians and Muslims. They had their own wars. And the Arabs had their own wars. Those wars still continue today. They don't have a democracy. Arabs don't live under a democracy. Always remember that. They have their own ideologies as Arabs. It don't matter if you're an Arab Christian, you're an Arab Muslim, Arab Jew. I don't even know if there Arab Jews exist today. In, well, the Arab countries anyway. But Arabs have their own philosophy. They have their own ideologies. You can't reason with an Arab. You can't reason with the Iran. You can't reason with the Turks. Because this is what they go by. And it's still continuing freaking today. I ask you, anybody who's listening to me, do you feel that Syria can be ever free? Yes or no? Somebody. Do you feel Syria can be ever freaking free to make a choice for its own without harming the Kurds, the Druze, by being a solo country without freaking political ideologies? Only way Syria is going to have peace. But it's all about who gets to control Syria. And because of the controlling, the Druze and the Kurds freaking die. This is a political ideology. It's a political game in freaking business. Why is Moroccan not radicalized? Why is Albania not radicalized? Why is Bosnia not radicalized? Why is Malaysia not radicalized? Muslims? Because they didn't get a chance to sell, Iran and Saudi didn't get a chance to sell their version of Islam to these countries. Or today they'd be radicalized. They'd be radicalized. Pakistan is a failed country because Saudi and Iran sold its ideology in Islam to these countries, funding its mosque, funding its leaders to make sure this ideology is educated in your country, all for what? The Palestinian cause. This is a political movement. Political movement. And if it's a lie, then why did Jews live in our homes? That has nothing to do with Islam. That's real history. If it's Islam, why did Jews live in our countries? Any answer? That's real history. But Iraqis didn't spare Jews. The Yemenites didn't spare Jews. Then when Saddam Hussein came, he made his own political ideology using religion as a political movement, just like how Russians and the Orthodox Christians and Jews fought in the Russian war. Political movement, political nationalism against each other. Religion should not be the key to war, even though many groups have done it to each other. There's not one group in the world that didn't fight in religion. And if you feel like that's a lie, you are not looking hard enough in the freaking past. In any circle, you are freaking not looking hard enough. This is what's going on today. You have a question, Elizabeth Hernandez? How you doing? Yes, sharing facts today because X people are so freaking divided. X, me the Hollywood person on the X, people are not looking at real history. People are writing their own history. I have a question for anybody who's Christian on my channel. When did the Bible say that American Christians are the only Christians in the world and Jesus is going to come to America and be with American Christians? Isn't that being divided? What about all the other Christians? Agreed. All religions have led to violence and suffering because of national movements. Arabs have fought the Iranians. Iranians have fought Arabs. They have fought the Turks, and Muslims fought each other. These countries, like in the group, they fought each other. And they have sent their movements to other Muslim countries. Like I said, why isn't Albania radicalized? Why isn't Malaysia radicalized? Why isn't Bosnia radicalized? Moved on, UAE moved on when it's Arab, because of this political ideology that was launched by the Muslim Brotherhood to use religion as a weapon. Russia has done it too. War between Russia, Jews, and the Orthodox Christians. Russia was an Orthodox Christian country. People don't look at these wars. Hindus had it with both Muslims and Christians. I had a friend who told me his side, who was on my podcast about like a few weeks away. He was my first guest on my show. That somebody who's a monitor, really, I didn't know about, read about it. Type on Google, type the war between Jews and Christians, and it should give you some sources to read about. Yeah, long back in early years, Russia, Jews and Christians got into a battle. The Russian Jews and the Russian Christians. You'll type it on Google, you'll see something. My friend told me a specific story. I'm not going to say a name because he told me, please don't say my name. So he's from India, he's Hindu. And he told me that one of us was a Christian who works for a community. She literally supported the Kuki terrorist organization, which is the Christian terrorist or political organization against the Hindus. And she gave a speech about that. And they both live in the freaking same area. Both. But she supported the Christians who want to attack Hindus. She had nothing to say. She supported that movement, the massacre of Hindus. Why? Yeah. And he was like, please don't say my name. She supported the Kuki organization, the massacre of Hindu, and not say anything when they both live in the same area of India. Nothing to say. So when the Hindus fought back, of course, nobody wants to convert. So Hindus fought back and they've been fighting from 300 D till now. Hindus and Christians. Christians encourage force, Muslims have too, and still story still continues today. And she gave a speech about that in India. Supporting the Kuki organization, no support for Hindus. She supported the Christians. Religion ideology turned into a massacre to harm other humans. When? Or why have a religion if this is what religion is for? Religion is supposed to be to make yourself a better person. Encourage yourself to be a better person. Yeah, I'm not lying to you about that. I'll bring him on a podcast one day. He just didn't want to reveal himself because he felt if he did, he would get busted for it. Yeah, she gave a speech in India about this as a Christian and nothing to say in Hindu favor. When India is known one place for Hindus, it's a secular country, but Muslims and Christians are allowed there. Nothing to say for the Hindu massacre as a Christian. What are you going to do? Hindus fought both, Muslims and Christians. There's many groups who got into religious wars. In fact, this is another war you can look up if you want to discover the Christian world. Type in the Great Lebanon War. That war was between Druze and Lebanese Christians. What happened between them? If you want a Christian, you want to know a little bit about your Christian brothers and sisters around the globe, that's another war you can study. What happened between Druze and Lebanese Christians, okay? The only places that Christians have been safe without the radicalization or extremists, it has been places like Albania. Albanians are most welcome to anyone. Bosnia, Malaysia, even Morocco now. And as far as land invasion, everybody has invaded land, man. There's not one circle group who's never did this war. First, like for Iran, for example, it started with the Zoroastrian first religion. Then came the Christians and enforced their religion in Iran. Last religion was Islam. So after the time of the first religion, became Christian. Same for like places like Native Americans. It was the Native Americans' religion first, then Christopher Columbus fought, and then the British other people came along, known as the Americans, eliminated the Native Americans' religion and claimed it America. But America never followed a specific religion. There's been many battles, and people are mixing nationalism, political ideology into real history itself. That real history is not going to go. People want to rewrite it. Oh, that a Native American can answer. I know. She's part of my community, and she's the mod to my community. One day I'll bring her in. She's the mod to my community. That, in fact, someone Jewish also taught me too. That the Native, you can type it on Google. Put it on Google. Screw me what I'm saying. Put it on Google. Do you have any options of a Zionist? Okay, so this is my opinion, right? I know I get asked this all the freaking time. Jews, in my opinion, if you know the start to down, I wouldn't say they're Zionists, okay? Because they have lived in Muslim countries. They have. Now the question is, why did they go to Israel? Throughout the time, after the Hitler movement and all those things, Muslims, like I said, Muslims had done things too. That they damaged their villages. They were okay with Christians, but not so great with Jews, like the Iraqis, the Yemenites, the Syrians, Iran, and Arab. That story still continues today. That they bashed their villages. So when 1948, when the British got involved, finally gave them the state. So finally, all the Jews from places like Europe and places in the Muslim countries, all those same Jews that once lived there pretty much transferred to Israel because that state was technically dedicated to them, that this is now is a Jewish state, just like how Hindus have one. That's just my opinion because, like I said, Muslims do have history with them. Now, how do the Jews feel with each other? I'm not the one to really say about that because I'm not Jewish and I'm not going to criticize that. Christians have their own opinion. Now, some people agree and some people disagree. I'll be very open with you. I'm just saying, why do they need that state in a Muslim point of view? Because once upon a time, they lived with us, and the Iraqis, the Yemenites, the Syrians, Arabs, the Turks, well, yeah, they still continue to degrade them today. Compared to people from Morocco or like Albania, Bosnia, and all these other places, Malaysia, they're not linked to this war. They have nothing to do with. Even UAE. Look at Russia. Russia was known as a Christian country, like the Orthodox Christian. Later, it became secular. So you see how these movements just changes stuff around and people are mixing stuff up? That's not the way it's done, guys. If we as Americans, let me put it this way. If we put religion into our government as Americans, we're not going to have freedom anymore. It may look like a good thing, but trust me, we will not. Because not everybody believes in the same thing. There are the atheist people. Then there are the people who don't believe in nothing. Muslims believe separate. Jews believe separate. Then you're just going to come like a country like Iran, who forces religion on its people. You do not want to do that. You never want to welcome religion in your government. Your freedom's over. Religious law versus regular constitutional laws. Agreed, absolutely. Need to have secular. Yes, we are going to be no different from Iran if we ever do that. If we welcome anybody's religion in our government, we are screwed. Our freedom is over. It doesn't matter if it's Islam or Judaism or Christianity. Our freedom days are over. We would have to follow that religious government. If we break any of the laws, we are busted. Because it's a religious government. You're going to have to do those things. It's a religious government. Break the laws, we are stuck in it. Why would you want that? Why wouldn't you want to keep America secular? We have to understand the past, and we need to understand what happened in the past and what happened in the middle. Do you feel all major religions are equally destructive, or do you? That depends on the history. Like I said, every religion had its own distinguished wars. Christians had their own wars. Muslim and Arabs had their own wars. Jews in the beginning, they had like few wars. Remember, Jews and Christians, and then they fought the Canaanites. They have their own specific wars. There's not one group that has never warred. Hindus have fought the Christians and the Muslims. There's not one group that has ever warred. Anybody who feels to believe that is a complete idiot. Then all this throughout time history is a lie. Jews fought the Phoenicians, the Canaanites, the Samaritans. That would be in Jewish history. Any other questions? And understand, whenever people on X want to compare and forget everything else, remind yourself that we are missing the history itself and we are rewriting history, stuff that does not exist. Never has, never did in any existing book. If people can claim one freaking book, I accept. But nowadays people are rewriting freaking history, stuff that never existed, and claiming it does. It never has. And as a Muslim, agreed, I was raised in a Catholic. I am so sorry for the Catholic people. My prayers to you. Whatever happened to the Catholic people, I feel terrible. And my prayers to all the Catholic families due to what happened. I lean more towards Hinduism now. Hinduism, I have a friend. He can explain Hinduism. He's in my server. I can never say stuff in Hinduism 100% correct. He's the one to really educate Hinduism. But yeah, I don't understand why religious go do war. It doesn't make sense. That's where history comes in. People done a lot of crazy things. It doesn't matter who you are. They just have. And due to religion, faith itself versus secularism versus nationalism. And people nowadays want to use religion as a nationalism ideology than faith itself. And many nations have done that. They still continue to do that. Still. No stop. Use nationalism ideology versus faith itself. Religion is supposed to be a tradition. A faith you do normally, not a political national movement towards other people. This is supposed to remain with your family. If it's not going to remain with your family and enforce it on other people, people are not going to see positive things in it. You get what I'm saying? So that's what happened after the Ottoman Empire war. It's not too personal for, are you religious? I'm only traditional religious, not like extremist. Like just do my fasting, pray 5 times a day, be nice to my neighbor, be nice to whoever, respect all these people, do my deeds in the house as a religious person in my house, not harass other people with my ideology, things like that. I don't bring my ideology or questions to other people. But nowadays people like to compare, which is retarded, without having to understand it's pointless. People are going to remain different. What are you going to do about it? That's wonderful. That's what it should be about. Exactly. Religious is something that's supposed to be between you and your family and children. It should not be the key to harass other people, or people are going to stop believing in things. Are you based on us? I'm from the United States, yes. I was born in Dallas, then my family shifted to New York, and all my brother and sisters were born in there. My family moved to the US in the early 1980s. That's when Israel and Pakistan newly statehood came. You know, and Iran's regime, the bad regime, took place too. But yeah, I'm from here. But I do know all the history, which is why it's difficult for me to explain to people. And history is very, very important. Religious history is not important. People go on religious history, no. People don't realize that it's books. Books can't talk, but the actual fights that happen in everybody's circle. There's not one circle it didn't happen in. And people are just keep debating on religion, which is retarded, without having to understand there were many religious fights. It didn't start there. And it took place in multiple formats around the world. Because that's what separate circles are for. Like, I was telling this to an Israeli today, that you are going to live like an Israeli. You're going to die like an Israeli. You cannot tell a Russian Jew what to do. It's going to die as a Russian Ashkenazi Jew with Russian history. Same for everybody else. Rather, it's a Ukrainian Jew, Russian Jew, or a Russian Muslim, or a British Muslim. It's going to die as a British Muslim because it's from there. And you can't keep putting everybody in one circle without separating them. When people put into one circle, my advice is one. When they say, oh, Christians must unite. So where are all the other Christians around the world? Why are they dying? Why are all the other Muslims so divided, not agreeing with the narrative? Why are all the other Jews divided? Some support the state, some don't support the state. Why? What are you going to do about it? People have many backgrounds, many histories, due to that history, everybody had a time period, a separate time period. Nobody comes from the same time period. Nobody. Because if you did, today you'd be united. And there would not be separate nations in the world. There will be only one. Any other questions? I feel like this is an interesting stream for people to remember that in America, please, whether you're a Christian or a Muslim or a Jew, remember early history. Do not remember the violence because everybody did violence. There's nobody who didn't. Everybody did violence. But remember the time you spent together through the empire days, all those other days. What you do for each other during those empire days. Every other history has its place. Everything didn't start in one place as much as people feel like it did. It didn't. Like, for example, America, there's mostly like Protestants and evangelical Christians. Christians taught me that. I didn't even know. Mostly here. Russia has mostly Orthodox Christians. Now, if you were to rotate your minds with those Christians, what do you think they're going to tell you? They're going to tell you their background history. You're going to talk about your background history, being an American. It convinced them that you're the real people versus their own background, right? Same for the Muslims, which is why Muslims disagree with one another. I disagree with an Iraqi. Iraqis don't get along with the Pakistanis. Iraqis have their own background and issues. So whenever a Pakistani Muslim debates an Iraqi, a Syrian, it is not going to get along. It's just not going to get along because of the differences in the backgrounds in history. And nobody can convince them, oh, but it's your religion. No, it is not. It's our background and how we were made. We were not made how people told us we're made. We were made because of our own history. And this is what people don't want to run from. So when radical ideology gets sold, and on social media, people love to talk about it. Oh, look at this stupid country. Look at that stupid country. Study, where did it come from? Every country had a past. Every country had a really good past. Iran had a really good past. Pakistan had a good past. Bangladesh had a good past. How did the past get ugly? That's what you would want to study. Something good, how did it go bad? And Saudi's atmosphere changed because the Prince Mohammed bin Salman came. He changed the country atmosphere. He changed the ideology. He changed every freaking damn thing. The fact that when the Palestinian movement was made, he decided it's time to change the books and educate the students about the Zionist people. What is the Zionist ideology? Now, Zionist ideology is educated two ways. Just observe people's brain. Not what judgments, just observe what they say, okay? Some say that Zionism is a violent ideology. Jews say we have a right to our home. It's very important how ideologies are used. I speak to Palestinians and my mind blows away when they tell me that, oh, we must fight to the last level. And then Palestinians debate each other. that we don't want to be radicalized. We want to be a normal life. I don't agree with the pro-Palestinians. I don't agree with Hamas. And they don't like other Muslim countries calling them bad guys. Why? Because Hamas military education was sold to their countries just like other freaking Muslim countries. It's feeded in here. It's sold to them. And the Muslims know because we faced this freaking hellhole earlier during the Ottoman Empire days when Jews lived with us. And when the Hitler movement was made, people forced our countries to exile Jews. Then this movement, Saudis and the Irans, sold it to freaking our homes. So when we see Palestinians freaking radicalized, we miss our past. Because we've been through this freaking bullshit. And still suffering this bullshit today, while the powerful countries say, oh, it's our fault. But it's not. You sold it to us. You made those radicalized Muslims because of your ideology. That's the thing that the Muslims are on a debate and trying to make Palestinians people realize that you need a new beginning, new everything. And you have to make it work some way. Because both directions have a past. They're not there the way the political people are saying it. They have a past. And based on that past is how their history comes from. What they are following right now is an ideology given by Iran, given by Saudi. Just like I said about the Syrian people, they can never be free until Turks, Saudi, and Iran control it. They can never be free, ever. UAE has religion, Malaysia has religion, Albania has religion, but it's not radicalized. This is radicalized. National movement. So I hope people understand that if you want things to work, people need to get rid of nationalism, understand that religion needs to remain in your home, don't encourage other people, and keep your faith to yourself. Don't put it on others because everybody's grave is going to be alone. Nobody's going to come to your grave. You're going to have to face God alone. The choices you made, that includes religion. What did you follow? How many murders did you support? How many politicians did you support in the name of God? All these things, they're going to be asked. And people seem to have no fear of God in following these political movements. And that's my message to all my streamers who watch me today. If you want to protect your lives, you need to understand how things are working. You are being manipulated, whether you're Christian, whether you're Jew, whether you're Muslim, Muslims and Christians. My message to you, we need to wake up, okay? We need to fix ourselves based on this political ideology. We are nobody to tell what Jews what to do. We need to worry about ourselves, how we need to make our homes work by all these political ideologies. Because in the end, we're going to leave to God one day too. And that's my message to anybody who's watching me. We have to come to our senses. We have to come to our senses and stop the national movement in our homes. Stop anything radical. Get rid of it from our homes. No matter how much people want to support it. And that's my topic today. Never underestimate the Ottoman Empire war. That's where the Jews were taken, Muslim countries. Then the Arab nationalism movement came through Hitler, and they were forced to get out because they wanted to support the Palestinian cause. You missed the Ottoman Empire, how Moroccan Jews came, the Yemenite Jews, the Syrians. You have no idea what you're talking about. And when people say that, oh, Jews came from outside. They're the same Jews who once lived there, same Jews live in Israel today. They once lived in those lands, now they live in a Jewish home. If you want them to come home, we need to get rid of the radical ideology. Any questions before I close out the stream? And I hope people understand. Take care, guys. I'm going to get ready to stream on X. My final stream. Take care, guys.